book haul, baby. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. And today we're doing the September 2025 book haul. I pick up stuff all throughout the month, and some of it I showed you, and some of it I haven't. And I'll combine what's left with stuff that interests me anyway. Maybe you're interested, maybe you're not. And we'll take a look at it and talk about it a little bit. But today is actually September the 24th. And on September 25th, I'm getting on a jet plane, leaving on a jet plane, heading for Maui. Poor, pitiful me. I've been there once before, and we liked it enough that we decided, hey, well, let's go there again. So it's been a while, but we're going to go back and hopefully enjoy a beautiful place once again. And then when I get back, 2 days after I get back, I'm going in for shoulder surgery. The current affairs, shoulder surgery. I've been nursing a bum shoulder for 20 plus years. Getting a nurse back to health and then having another problem, and back and forth, in and out of the weight room for a while. And finally it's gotten to the point where I might as well just get it fixed and hope for the best. So next time we see each other, maybe all slinged up, gimpy, can't move and stuff like that. It'd be kind of interesting. I never had a surgery before, but let's get to talking about some of the reading materials that I picked up in the month of September. And it's stuff that interests me. I don't necessarily collect all the things that everybody else collects. You can tell what everybody else collects by what's very, very expensive and stuff. So the Stephen King's, and I've read some of his stuff, and I've got some of his stuff. But there are a lot of other authors that I really, really dig. And so I tend to go after some of my favorites. And one of my very favorites, who ever lived, and today, as we speak, he's still walking God's green earth, and that is Lawrence Block, one of my favorite authors of all time. A guy who's written a variety of things, but kind of fits in the mystery detective genre. He writes in different ways, and he's also got 4 relatively successful series, and 2 of them are some of my favorites of all. The Bernard Rodenbar, the Burglar series, Bernie Rodenbar, the lovable burglar, and then Matthew Scudder, the down and out detective. 2 great series, but he's also got the Keller, the Hitman series, and then the Insomniac. What's the Insomniac one? That one is what is his name? What is it? Tanner. Golly, I had to go look over there to remind myself. The Evan Tanner series. The guy who can't sleep. Interesting. But this one combines some of my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things. Lawrence Block, not Bernie Rodenbar. Lawrence Block. Mysteries. Christmas. And the Mysterious Bookshop. And the Mysterious Bookshop is a place that New York City is not really. I don't intend to offend people in New York City or people who love New York City, but I really don't have ambitions to go to that big, busy city. But if I ever do, the Mysterious Bookshop is one of the things that will be on my list of things to do. And if it's not in New York City, well, then that'll be just a big disappointment. Anyway, but this is As Dark as Christmas Gets. It is a very nice, see that paper on the cover, chapbook, a little bitty story by Lawrence Block. And it is a holiday gift with the compliments of the Mysterious Bookshop. And it's not new, and it wasn't a gift to me. I bought it on eBay. So it was a gift to somebody, and I paid dough for it. As Dark as Christmas Gets, a Christmas story by Lawrence Block. The Mysterious Bookshop, New York, Los Angeles, and London, 1997. And you can kind of see cool typeface there. Looks neat. Copyright 1997 by Lawrence Block. So looking forward to this. And there it is. It's just a chapbook stapled together on the end. And I collect Lawrence Block. I've got a lot of his stuff. And when I saw this on eBay, I'd never heard of such a small thing, and it combines some things I really dig with an author that I really dig, and it's signed. Signed is always better, baby. So I had to mash them buttons, make that purchase, and the friendly neighborhood mail lady did hook a brother up, and she delivered the goods. So there is that one. As dark as Christmas gets. Really excited about that one. Another one that I was really excited to get. See, these are the things that excite me. Robert B. Parker. Ever hear of him? He wrote a series. He wrote a couple series. A Jesse Stone series later on. But the Spencer series, what really put his name on the map. And I think a oft imitated series. A detective series set in the 70s and 80s and maybe beyond, and there was a many books, and I haven't read them all, but anyway, I've got some, and I've been trying to collect the signed first edition, first print hardcovers of the first bunch. I don't want to get them all. I mean, when the series goes into the 20s and 30s and 40s, at some point I gotta say it takes up too much space on the shelves. I do intend to read them all one day if I live long enough, but there's a lot of stuff to read in the meantime. So I've been quietly collecting, trying to collect. I kind of targeted the first 10. And then I kind of said, well, I'll get them up through the 80s, maybe. Through the 80s. So we'll see how that works out. But signed first edition, first print, hardcover copies. US and UK, when I can stumble into one at a price that I can afford, or that I can convince myself is worthwhile. And this one is Early Autumn by Robert B. Parker, a Spencer novel. And I haven't gotten to the Early Autumn yet in the series. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8. And it is signed by Robert Parker, published by Delacorte Press. And there is our book specific information. The price in the dust jacket being $10.95, and it's a cool edition, exciting edition to me for the book collection. And there are a lot of people who say a lot of bad things about the secondary market, about eBay and stuff like that, and I'm not here to toot the eBay horn, but toot. If it wasn't for eBay, a lot of my collection wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have access to a lot of these things. Just think, I live in a small town of Brooksville, Florida. I travel around some, and I get to some bookstores. But just think, if only the books that I could find in a physical bookshop that I could get to, if those are the only books I had access to purchasing, probably the majority of my collection I would never have seen, never have had the opportunity to buy. And then think about this. That bookstore owner in Jacksonville, Florida says, that book is worth a lot of money. It's rare. It's $150. And there's nobody on God's green earth that's willing to pay that for it. But that guy says it's rare, and that might be the only one I ever see. I have to say, do I want to overpay for it? Way overpay? Get really ripped off? Or do I just say, forget it, I don't want it. I want it, but I won't get it. So, there's bad things going on, and there's some bad experiences on eBay, but really, honestly, it's been great to me as a collector. And for people that want to sell stuff, well, heck, you might have something that you want to sell, and the only way you have locally to sell it is to go down to your local bookstore and that person say, well, he's not very highly sought after, Robert B. Parker. I don't have a lot of people asking for him. I'll give you $5, but it's signed. I got signed books out coming out of my ear holes. I'll give you $5 for it. Take it or leave it. And so maybe eBay gives you a chance to sell some things to some people. A lot of people out there looking for what you may have. But even if there's only 5 of them, maybe you get a chance to make a sale and get some value. Or there'll be thousands of them on eBay and 5 people looking for them. So maybe you have a chance to get something at a price that the market sets, instead of the one person in your town that decides what everything goes for. Anyway, I'm not bad-mouthing local bookstores because I love to be able to walk into a store and find stuff. One of my favorite things to do in terms of shopping anyway, which I get a love-hate relationship with. But moving on, another series that I just literally stumbled into, actually not quite literally stumbled, but another series that I literally walked into and then said, oh, wait a second. I was at a local bookstore not too long ago, and a good fellow, a good friend by the name of Ian Rogers, one of the great authors out there. I strongly recommend you take a look. Look him up. Look a brother up. Supernatural Tales is a great one that's coming out. It's been out, but it's being republished by Cemetery Dance in a trade softcover form. It's a series of tales called the Black Lands Tales, but it's got some detective stuff reminiscent a little bit of Robert Parker, like I talked about there, but it's got the supernatural elements in it. A neat combo. But anyway, he recommended some books by an author by the name of Elmore Leonard. Ever hear of it? Well, the crime is that I've seen some really great movies that are based on books written by Elmore Leonard. So I'm familiar with the name Elmore Leonard, but I've never read a single book written by Elmore Leonard. Now I have. Anyway, I was at a bookstore looking for Elmore Leonard books, a few that Ian Rogers had recommended, and I noticed one title sitting on the shelf called Raylan. And when I pulled it out, it showed a picture of the TV show, which is a TV series that I really loved. I loved this show called Justified. Justified features a character named Raylan Givens, and I didn't know it. I should have, but I didn't realize it, that Raylan Givens, the character, and some of the stories were based on books written by Elmore Leonard. So I bought that book, Raylan, then I got to snooping a little bit, and that wasn't even the first book in the series. Pronto was. So I went and I got me a readable copy of Pronto. That means one that I didn't pay a lot of money for, and one that really doesn't really matter if I put it in the back pocket and tote it to work, or leave it sitting in the seat of the truck, or I put it in a suitcase and travel with it, or whatever. I don't have to worry about messing it up because I didn't invest any money in it, and it really isn't worth any money to begin with. So I bought me a paperback copy, and I read it, and I loved it. And along the way, I stumbled into a signed ARC. I bought that one before I'd read the book. And then once I read the book, I realized this one is fantastic. And I loved Pronto. And I loved Raylan Givens as written by Elmore Leonard. And he's very well performed in the TV show, and I can't remember the actor's name. My wife would spit it out like nothing. I can't remember his name, though. Great performance, great actor, great role. And he actually does a pretty good job of playing Raylan Givens as written by Elmore Leonard. Now, the story in Pronto is very different than any story that's portrayed in that show. I've started reading the second book in the series, but so far I haven't gotten into Arlen, Kentucky and all the kind of stuff that's going on in the TV series. But Pronto, the character is very familiar. The final scene in the book is in the TV show, and I don't want to spoil anything, but the finale, the grand finale, the climax of the book is in the very first episode of the TV show. Very good. Very good in the book, very good in the show. But I'm looking forward to reading more about Raylan Givens. And this one was a first edition, first print, hardcover, a very unexciting cover. A lot of these trade edition books from the 80s and 90s and 2000s even have been relatively unexciting. They, especially when you get an author that's well known, they put in big, giant, bold letters the author's name. The title is less important. The artwork on the cover is less important. You just want people to know, hey, Elmore Leonard, pop. I want to buy it because of that author. And there's a lot of great authors out there, and the marketing kind of went that way. The most important thing is that the book be designed in a way that it catches the eye. Doesn't matter if it's beautiful when you see it, but it catches the eye when it's sitting on the shelf, and that when it catches the eye, you see the name, familiar name that everybody talks about, one that you want to buy it and read it. And that's the way Pronto was. But there is Elmore Leonard on the back. Most important thing is to see the guy's mugshot. But this one is his first edition, first print copy. You see there the dust jacket has the $21.95 US price there, unclipped, and quarter bound in cloth, hot foil stamping, paper covered boards. It is a sewn binding like a lot of trade edition books used to be. There still are some. I'm not doing a in-depth look at this book, but signed with a beautiful, pretty signature that you can actually almost read. Looks like Elvis Leonard to me, but Elmore Leonard. And this one is Pronto, the very first book in the Raylan Given series. And there it is. Our number line goes all the way down to 1. First edition, first print copy. And I read this book and I loved it. And I recommend it. I strongly recommend it. A great book. And if you liked the TV series, the setting of that book starts off in Miami, then goes to Italy, and then back to Miami again. So it's not really that mountains, hills of Kentucky sort of a story that we saw in the TV show Justified. But you get to some of the characters. You'll see some of the names also being familiar in there, but who they are and what they do being a little bit different. But a great book. I loved it. Glad I stumbled into it. Another one. I saw this guy at... what is that? AuthorCon 5 Scares That Care in Williamsburg, Virginia. I went there and I got the t-shirt and I talked to some pretty cool fellas and ladies while I was there. And one of the cool fellas that I talked to was a guy by the name of Jonathan Jans. And at that time, at that event, he unveiled his new release called Veil. And now this book just shipped recently. I had a chance to read a digital arc, and I loved it. I've got a review. I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out. A great story. Post-apocalypse, science fiction, horror, all rolled up into some really cool stuff here. But Veil was fantastic. And Jonathan Jans, a fantastic fella. And it was a great time, great getting a chance to talk to Jonathan Jans, to hear a little bit about Veil. And this book is out. Get you a copy. You won't regret it. It is great. And it's written in a way where when I was all done reading it, I thought he's got to do another one of these. Carry on the Veil. Carry on the Veil story. Carry it on. But this one is a signed copy. I got it. Who did I get it from? I got it from... check the description out. I forgot the name of the bookstore. It's his local bookstore that he signs books for. You can order signed Jonathan Jans books from the store. I'll put a link in the description for him because right now, gone. I can't even think of it. Gone. Just like that, gone. But I pre-ordered this one to get it signed when it came in. Signed is always better. And there's what she looks like reading it. But a great story. I strongly recommend you check out Jonathan Jans. A couple more things here. And this one is a book that I ordered from Broadway Books. And it looked so nice, all wrapped up, that I feel like it's a crime. It's a sin. It's a sin against nature to open this up. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for you because you're pressuring me into doing so. And we'll just do it. The beautiful wrapping, beautiful package. I ought to just go order another one so I can have a wrapped up book to sit on the shelf. But this is a book that I've already read. I was another one where I had a chance to get a digital arc. I already read it. I've done a book review on this channel for it. And here is a signed first edition, first print hardcover of Coffin Moon by Keith Rosson. It is a Random House book, and I forgot to say Veil. You can order Veil in all sorts of different places. But Veil is a Blackstone Publishing book. Sorry, going back up. Backing up. Blackstone Publishing. You can order it in all sorts of places. Even the Amazon you can get it, but you can order it from Amazon. You might not find it in the Amazon. Although there might be a reader who took it there with them. Hopefully they come back. Hopefully. But Coffin Moon by Keith Rosson. This is a vampire story, but it's more than that. It's an on-the-road story. It's a family story. It's a revenge story. But this was the first Keith Rosson book that I'd read, and this book came well recommended. One of my favorite authors on God's Green Earth, Philip Fracassi, posted on the internet saying that he'd read it and he recommended it. So I read it and I recommended it. And other people, a guy, Stephen King, that's it. Stephen King recommended it as well. if that means anything to you. But I'm recommending, I vouch, Keith Rosson did a great job, a great book. And so I pre-ordered from them, first edition, first print, and I asked for a signature without, you can get personalizations, dedications, and stuff like that. But when I get a signed book, I just really want it signed. I don't usually go for anything else. Just sign it for me, even though I never intend to sell it or get rid of it or anything like that. It's for the collection. You see, I collect stuff here. I can't explain it, but I've always had a little bit of a when I see autographs personalized, and it probably comes from somebody showing something to me. Somebody shows me an item signed by Sandy Koufax or Hulk Hogan, and I say, wow, that's amazing. I want it. And then somebody shows me an autograph by something signed by who else? John Riggins or Larry Zonka, and it's signed to Jeffro, Larry Zonka. And I said, that's neat. You got to see Larry Zonka, but you wrote your name on it. I don't want that now. So that kind of a feeling that I get, it's got your name on it. It's not so cool to me anymore. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong, but I kind of always have felt that way. And when I go looking for autograph stuff on the eBay and I see it's signed to Eleanor, I want to say, dadgummit, Eleanor, why'd you have to get them sign it to you? And then why are you selling it with your name on it? I don't want your name. I want whoever's name on it. Janet Ivanovich, she signed it. I want her name, not yours, Eleanor. But, so I don't ask for personalizations. A lot of folks do, and I sure do understand and appreciate it. You're getting something from somebody. They write something personal to you. And naturally, quite frankly, that's nice. I get it. It's really, really cool. I just don't go that way. But anyway, first edition, first print, trade edition hardcover of Coffin Moon by Keith Rosson from Random House Books. And I bought that one, I think, when I emailed them from Broadway Books. I emailed them, and I think they said they had sold all of the signed copies. But they said you can order from them, and when they get a chance, Keith Rosson and I reckon will be going back in there at some point, they'll get one signed for you. I'll put a link in the description for them, but they said you can order one and they can get one signed for you. They didn't have any at the moment left when I emailed them. I like the way it was wrapped. I was frankly going to buy a second one, because that's how dumb I am. And then finally, last but not least, at least not in my eyes, a novelization. And I love novelizations, and I collect them for movies that I dig. And The Sting is no doubt a movie that I dig. These are books that are based on a movie, or based on the screenplay for a movie, or something like that. And so The Sting, a novel by Robert Wawerka, based on a motion picture written by David S. Ward, a dynamic new film from Universal. And so The Sting, starring the late Paul Newman and the late Robert Redford, one of my favorite movies of all time. I love this movie, and it's one that I can watch this movie at least annually and enjoy it every bit as much. The Ride, The Con. It's a movie about confidence schemes, confidence games, and a couple of con men who decide to con a very bad guy, and they put themselves in big time life on the line jeopardy. How does it work out? How great are the con men, or the con men get done in? And I'll leave it for you, but I recommend you go watch this movie, and I got to go read this book and add it to the movie novelization collection. And I'm excited about that one because I didn't even know there was a novelization for The Sting until relatively recently. And then I went on the eBay. Once again, I've never seen this book in any of my bookstores around town. Went on to the eBay, and I found one that was in pretty good shape at a price that I could afford. I had the shot, and I took it. And with that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell. So thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And say la vie, baby. Doo-doo.